Time Warner, all of these companies it owns, programming, magazines, the internet, film, television, cable, Viacom, the internet, film, production, programming, radio, television. Well, I could go on. Let me go on just two more charts. CBS Corporation, exactly the same thing. Go to the most popular internet sites. Who owns them? The same companies. General Electric, television, programming, production, film, magazines, and on and on. And so we have now a Federal Communications Commission that says, you know what we need more concentration, less localism, less minority ownership, apparently. It is unbelievably arrogant what they have done yesterday. Let me describe why I think what they did yesterday was arrogant. They had a rule they were going to put out some while ago dealing with migratory birds and communication towers. They said, okay, this is an important rule. We'll give 90 days for the American people to comment on this rule. 90 days. On a rule dealing with relaxing ownership limits, they gave 28 days. 28 days. Now, Chairman Powell, the chairman before Chairman Martin, he ran a FCC that included now Chairman Martin. 4 years ago, here's what he said. We're going to put out a new ownership rule for the media. Here's what we propose. In one of America's largest cities, you can own the following. You can own 8 radio stations, 3 television stations, the cable company, and the newspaper, and it'll be just fine. Well, it wasn't fine with me. Senator Trent Lott and I got the Senate to vote a resolution of disapproval of the rule. In the meantime, the federal court stayed the rule so it couldn't take effect. And here we're now back with the same issue, Chairman Martin leading the way. He says, well, this is a smaller step. Sure, it's a smaller step. You've abrogated the right of the American people to even understand what you were doing. He says, well, we had a 120-day comment period. No, you didn't. You had 28 days. You went out and held some meetings, but there was no rule for people to comment on at that point. I just want to make this point. What the FCC has done is arrogant. The chairman and the ranking member, the ranking Republican on the Commerce Committee, asked them not to do it. 25 senators sent them a letter saying it's inappropriate, saying you should not be short-circuiting the right of the American people to comment on this rule. This Federal Communications Commission, operating with its strings to the White House, has decided that what we need in this country is more concentration in the media. It is unbelievable to me. The last thing in the world we need in this country is more concentration in the media. What we do need with respect to radio stations and television stations, and yes, newspapers, is some basic connections in the communities in which they serve. This notion of voice tracking and all the other things that are going on, one person at a studio board is running 4 or 5 stations, sending out homogenized music, pretending he's in 4 cities at the same time. That is not what was anticipated when we decided to give for-profit companies the right to use the airways that belong to the American people free of charge. They have a responsibility, a public interest responsibility, and a responsibility to serve local interests. And this Federal Communications Commission, I think, ought to hang its head for what it did yesterday. And it's not over. We will bring to the floor of the United States Senate a resolution of disapproval, and I'm convinced, and I predict, that resolution of disapproval will prevail here in the United States Senate.